Hi, I'm Kurt from Ozarma and welcome to Workshop Wednesday. The sides of the STUG are straight, but there are still broken pieces that will need to be attached. Now these will need to be properly supported with strong backs so that the heat from the weld doesn't undo all of Glenn and Beau's hard work. So let's see how the boys go about it in episode 2 of the STUG 3G.
The plate we straightened in the last episode has a piece broken off it. Now it's up to Beau to reattach it.
Well, it broke through the weak point, the top bolt in the torsion bar. Every single one is cracked in the same spot. And this one here, that would have been where the crack started for that to explode and tear away.
Beau needs to oxycut a V shape in the plate to give it more surface area for the welding rod to bind. Glenn is just a few metres away, getting the other piece ready.
He's just taken off the bump stops and the return roller and all of the sort of accessories on the outside. He's taken all that off so we can join it, put a strong back across it with nothing in the way, so we can get it dead straight. So we'll have the strong back running as long as we can, all the way across the plate. We'll have multiple. 2, maybe even 3, depending. I'm going to try and get there's a slight hump here still. I'm going to try and get that out.
Welding heats up the plate so much that it can warp the steel, undoing all of Glenn and Beau's hard work. The boys will use these clamps on the strong backs and make minute adjustments to both plates until they are perfectly lined up. Once the strong back's in place, the plate can be welded together. The next day, the plate is flipped, and Beau has the other side done and dusted.
Just joining this plate back on. We had to cut it to straighten it because it's still joined onto the front. And it was too big to handle to put in the press, so we just cut it off where the bend sort of started, and then straightened it as best as we could. Now we're just rejoining it back on again. We're going to put these strong backs on and then pull it in, see if we can get some more of that twist out when we weld it. Should be fine.
The plates are aligned and the strong back is tacked onto the side. Now Beau can have an easier time welding. Now the STUG is flipped the other way to weld in the opposite side. incredibly, the back plate is in very good condition and has a lot of great little details that have been preserved.
This exhaust here, there wouldn't be many of them left around. They'd be like one of the first things to get damaged. Anything made out of thin material would just be damaged straight away, I guess. These would be protected because there's a back plate here that attaches, so you couldn't really hit anything unless it was low and went underneath. But for the condition of the plate and all the pitting, to still have that on there, something so thin is pretty cool. It's a massive tow bar. Pretty sure they only had this on the last production, on the late Gs. That was a feature to the late models, and it's just as massive. It's like a fabricated I-beam on the rear for a tow bar. When we were straightening the side here, there was a piece missing for the idler wheel, and that back's blown off. It's just taken that chunk with it. It's still on this plate. It's still on the back plate, still attached to it.
Imagine the force needed to tear that piece of solid metal away. Once the sides are snugly fitted to the back plate, everything has to be precisely measured.
It's really good for the condition of the plate, like what it used to be. So this is actually really good. No, I reckon that's good enough.
After a few days, Bo comes to the final push to get the hull welded up.
We put the bracings on, pulled it into its right width, tacked the sides up so it was strong enough for us to flip it. It's a lot easier, rather than doing like a vertical up, it's a lot easier to do a downhand weld. So that's why we flipped it, just to make it easier for us. Around every torsion bar housing there's stainless weld, and then you can see here it actually stops. So you get your stainless weld, and then it actually stops and turns into mild steel. Instead of welding the whole thing in stainless, which would have been really expensive, they've just done the outside in mild steel because it's good enough, and then welded the torsion bar housings on with stainless.
The hull is welded up. Even after hundreds of man-hours and thousands of welding sticks, there's still a lot to do, but you can't help but admire what the boys have achieved so far, considering the state the vehicle was in.
We've got the STUG upside down now so that Glenn and Bo can start working on the floor of the STUG. So be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any updates. Join us next week as we check in with Daryl and Jesse in the Jagdpanther build. So until then, I'm Kurt from Ozama, and I'll see you on the next one.